So let's say you've had an incredibly successful train the trainer phase. Then now we need to move on to support. At some point, the implementers are going to leave, and go live has happened, and the keys to the system have been handed over. I can speak from personal experience that as a client, you can be unsure of what will happen post go live, and how you're going to assume the day-to-day maintenance and the technical for the technical and functional admins. You've had the consultants by your side this entire way, them holding your hand, them leading you through the system. But what happens when they leave and you can't remember something, or something unexpected happens? And this can really become a concern on issue resolution post go live as well. Without the consultants, is who do I reach out to? How do I get in touch with Oracle? What reassurances are there that help with post go live transition and beyond to help ease the client's anxiety?
Sure. So that's a good question, because our goal is for the customer to be self-sufficient. That is how we define success, so that we can come back and do new things, right, for the customer. So in order for that to happen, there needs to be a positive experience. And so during the couple weeks of cutover to production and go live, another aspect of training is admin training. So there's a technical component, technical training, admin training, and functional admin training. During those trainings, we go through technical checklists, monthly checklists, to make sure that, like you said, there are things that may happen monthly, quarterly, annually in order to roll over the next year, that we're very clear in documenting those things. And then with cloud, there's also refreshed documentation that Oracle puts out with the Oracle updates. And so we make sure that the customer has all of those links and that information. And then there's also the guidance of how to deal with Oracle support. And if the client isn't already familiar with that, we can take them through the portal. But then we also connect them to Oracle Cloud Customer Connect. So there are a bunch of resources that Oracle puts out there, but sometimes it's just getting the education that these things even exist, that there's a whole community out there maybe posting the same questions, and also gives you, by the way, direct access to the product team. So that's the Oracle side. And then there's the EPMI support side. So we oftentimes during testing work with the customer to recommend what we think is an appropriate level of post-go live support based on our experience, based on what we're seeing with the current skill sets and adoption and complexity of the application. So we start to provide some recommendations. And then oftentimes we see that either at that point, before go live, so that the customer has a plan for post go live support, they're ready to sign, something that gives them those assurances, or they often take those recommendations and there's a wait and see moment to see how much of that they actually use. So you've been on that side. What have you experienced to be, majority of the case, or what are the pros and cons of each?
Well, what I have found that has been extremely helpful is the fact that you guys offer that post go live, the sort of maintenance afterwards. And it kind of let's see if you need this many hours. If you use it, great. If you don't, it's not necessary. And so to have that there as a safety net is so reassuring. Additionally, what I have found helpful personally is just referring back to the documentation. I still have documentation that has been provided to me 7-10 years ago. Sometimes when I need to reference, how did we do that? The documentation has been incredibly valuable for ongoing maintenance and support of the systems after the implementers have left. And so both those options I've seen work really well.
The final comment I'll make on that is that maintaining an EPM application, because these applications are so business oriented, so business focused, one of the conversations we also have is, hey, what is your post go live operating model? So one of the things to keep in mind as a customer is that, okay, who is doing what and who is ultimately accountable for something, and who is facilitating the process and or who needs to be just consulted or informed. So kind of that RACI model, the matrix of, okay, Oracle released a new update, is IT the one checking to see if anything is impacted because it's a technical update on data integrations? Or is the business checking something because it's an update to an intercompany elimination rule? Who is doing what? Where does the process start? That's just an example, right, with the monthly updates of how IT and finance can work together, but also there may just be an EPM center of excellence with representation from IT and finance, but they're still two very different domains. So going forward, it could be just testing updates, or it could be something more functional, like we need more reporting. And how does that process work? Where does that request come through? And so I think that's really interesting because you first go live, the dust settles, and then you think of enhancements maybe 1 or 2 quarters later, and you want to know who to go to and who's helping support the process, beyond just the post go live issues that might come up.
Oh, that's a very good point. One other thing that you mentioned, which is I remember it wasn't so long ago, probably about 15 years ago, once my first implementation, everyone left, and fortunately, I was informed of the Oracle user community and Oracle support and how to get in touch in case I encountered anything. So I wanted to emphasize that again.
Yep, absolutely.